Wait, did you say it's pseudo cream? You just need your
No, it doesn't
password.
begin
and
with
you
a
can do
P. It's
anything
like,
with
it's
the
like
cream?
yeah, it's no. Trust me. If you use Sudocreme, mate, and you're the one applying it, you've definitely got root access.
What should I sign up for?
Oh, Jesus.
Hello, welcome to the big show. And if you missed the pre-show, there's just a sample for you. Johnny
Patreon perk. It should be a Patreon perk.
No, I'm not a prostitute.
No, the Patreon perk is you don't have to watch it.
Joining me to discuss the big stories in tech, all the shiz that's gone on, but no Apple here. Great bunch, absolutely great bunch. Starting us off top left, Alan, who's had technical difficulties. What the hell's gone on, man?
Just Skype deciding to upgrade me just before the show, all the ducks lined up and then software upgrades, and it couldn't find my webcam, but everything else could.
So we should change the moniker same shit different day to same Skype different day.
Yeah, I think that totally works.
Definitely works. Are you well though, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, thanks.
Excellent, mate. Good to see you back on the show again. Next to him, Jeffrey Gammett.
How are you doing?
How was we don't want to go into Apple stuff, but how was WWDC, mate? I'm fine, thank you.
It was a lot of fun, and an AltConf, which runs at the same time, was really great.
It's just an excuse for drinking.
Ewan, anything's an excuse for drinking
True.
when you're hanging with me.
True. But it was good, worth going.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, where was AltConf around the
next.
corner, or was that back in San Francisco?
All the conferences are like right side by side, and it's
So AltConf was right next to the San Jose.
yeah, it was like
Shebang.
literally side by side. The
Cool.
only thing separating WWDC and AltConf was a stanchion
Oh, right.
and a very annoyed looking security guard.
All right, you didn't think they were going to be that close.
No, they were that close. People were actually walking between the two because you could just walk from the courtyard at McHenry right into AltConf. So there were people attending both.
WWDC has got nothing to do with Wonder Woman. Back off.
I know.
Back off, Jackie. Next to him, it's Rich the Switch. How you doing, man? Calm down.
I'm good, thanks.
Elections are over, so you're back to thinking about E3, you say?
Yeah, I'm very excited about all the money I'm going to spend on computer games.
Good man.
So E3 is basically my shopping list for the next year or whatever. So it's going to be good.
What type of games are you into?
Do you know, I can't pick a genre.
Oh, right.
Really? It's like, what's your favorite genre of music? I can't just settle on one. A good game's a good game, isn't it? So
I kind of like the driving stuff, and I kind of like some of the shoot 'em ups, but I'm into the sneak 'em ups with a bit of shooting. It's a bit more. Some of the snipery games are my kind of thing, definitely. And I used to love Rainbow Six as well. That was.
they were good.
I've actually got Star Wars Battlefield Edition thing here, and I've never opened it. It's still in the plastic. And somewhere I've got Modern Warfare 3, and that's out on Mac today as well. And I've never
A game on
opened
a
that.
Mac? My God.
Steady on. I mean, it's got to be 5 years plus old.
Oh yeah, that's true.
2012, 2013. So, but it's on a Mac. It's available today. Bought 38 quid for a 5-year-old game.
Jesus.
Ouch.
I bet it won't run on my
Saw you
MacBook
coming.
Pro either.
Saw you coming. Next to him, it's Righty Boy.
Hello, mate. How
What
are you?
do be happening, mate?
Oh, do you have a nice break, mate?
Mm.
I know you're glad to
I
have
didn't.
internet back.
I did and I didn't, because I did because it's lovely down there, don't get me wrong, but I didn't because there's just absolutely no frigging phone signal. There was a couple of times I lost calls, let alone data, and I just think in a modern era, I know I went to have a break, don't get me wrong, but I was more stressed at the fact that I was missing requests for quotes and people asking me to do things than I was worried about the fact of relaxing with the family. All I needed was half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the afternoon to just check my emails, and then I'd be gone back to throwing frisbee on the beach. It would have been fine. But when you deny that, it might be a good conversation to have. Actually, is that, am I being sad, or is it an essential? And I got close today to thinking this week to thinking it was an essential, most definitely.
I think
really stressed.
certainly depending on the situation. Like with obviously being self-employed yourself, you need to be like that, don't you? If you work for a company like me, you can take a holiday and not think about it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also the worst bit is actually where you've got not quite or just that little bit of data, and you can actually spend 5 times as long just trying to eke out the page by page or the email download on 2G than if you'd had a decent signal. You would have been done, dusted, and back to the fun stuff. But yeah, you're spending all your time wasted trying to get that signal.
Yeah, I got very frustrated and very upset. Sharon was like, "What are you getting upset for?" And when I explained it to her, she was like, "Okay, I do understand."
Ah, fair enough.
But I didn't take it on them. It's just that. But you're all right then, dude.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. Looking forward to the weekend.
Have you noticed?
Looking forward. Oh, it's gone.
Have you noticed? Look at me.
Yeah, we're right. Where's my one?
I got my Pocket Show T-shirt on, and I got the Pocket Show logo here. Look, promoting it.
No, I saw the logo. I didn't even clock the T-shirt. Oh, good man.
So when's the next one?
I hope to do one next week.
Good man. Good man. Get back on it. Pocket Show is back. That's the big news. Pocket Show is back. I say again. And last but by no means least, talking of one of the shows that we do, we have one of the hosts of one of the shows that we do. Jackie, who does the House Cards show with us.
Hey.
Did you record yesterday?
Yes, we did.
I didn't make it back from Kent in time, unfortunately. But
By the way, I'll talk to you off at a post show or something that we had trouble connecting to the network, but we did record, and that should be posted tonight. So we've gotten started on the new season, season 5, and Ewan, you tweeted me. You said that you had been watching it. How do you feel about this season? I don't want to diss my show, so please be a little positive.
I'm not betting not for anything then. No, I'm going to say a big House of Cards fan. Sharon and I both. I mean, we sit down and watch it regularly, and when it comes on, it's like, okay, binge watch time. And we've managed to get through 7 episodes so far.
7. Okay, so only one more than when you were about to have a breakdown.
Yeah, but you said to me, it starts with a bang, which, it starts with a bang. But there's a little bit of me thinks it's jumped the shark now. They're trying to string it out too much and trying to make it into like a 7-season thing, which it just wasn't.
The seasons are too long. The seasons are too long, and my co-host Roberto and I, we plan to double up some episodes to just kind of, because I really feel like some of them you just have to do back to back and then just get them
Don't
and then
fall into their trap. See, I always call it the Faulty Towers principle.
Okay.
So Faulty Towers did 2 series. That was it. They stopped. And that was the end of it. And Ricky Gervais with The Office, when he did the British Office, 2 series, stop it. And that's the way you should be. And when you go on further than that and try and do more seasons, all you do is jump the shark.
I couldn't agree more.
There we go. I've had me say. But anyway, you should listen to the podcast because the podcast is excellent. And I'll put a link in the chat room. There you go. BritishTechNetwork.com/category/HOC. I don't think you need the category bit, but there you go.
But hey, if there's any of your listeners who has a good mic, wants to sit around and talk for a while, come join us and hit me up and
Thursday nights around 4 or 5 o'clock, isn't it? You record?
That's right. 5. I think 5 British summertime.
Yeah, 5 p.m. British summertime. There we go. And Swamp Rat says, Last of the Summer Wine went into 11 billion series, and that exactly shows it off because it was crap at the end.
Yeah.
Deep Pan
You
says,
just have to know when a good thing needs to just die,
Deep Pan says, love House of Cards, but found this season flat. Feels like there's been a lot of last-minute rewrites to fit in with live events that are going on. Good point. And Deep Pan, get yourself a mic and get yourself on the House of Cards show with Jackie
definitely.
and Vincent.
Send us some feedback.
The Week in Tech, what's going on? What are the big stories? Gentlemen, are you all going to go first and try and trample over Jackie, or are we going to let the lady go first? Because there's too much sausage on this network, I've been told, and we don't get ladies on enough, and ladies should go first, otherwise my father's going to kill us. Do you have a story for us, Jackie?
I do, and I had backups in case you guys talked about some of my stories.
That's how you do it properly. See, right? You see that?
Well, I'm torn between the story of Facebook politics, or the fact that Facebook is now, and I don't know if this is something that it is being done in the UK, or this is just a US thing, that they're setting up features for elected officials. Where you get constituent badges, constituent insights, and district targeting, so that you basically know who in your area is talking about certain politics, and they're using that to kind of tidy up the whole mess of fake news, and I think that's directly an output of the 2016 general election in the United States. I'd like to talk about that, but I'd also like to talk about self-driving cars. So,
your choice,
heck,
mate.
I've already brought up the Facebook point. So
have you got a link for a story that people can look at to kind of get some background on this? I've just Googled that, and it says politics.fb.com, and it's got elections, Facebook elections. Find your voters on Facebook.
Yes,
and that sounds like a scary promise.
Yeah,
it does, and it almost, to me, and I don't want to be like a conspiracy theorist, but Mark Zuckerberg has sort of nodded or hinted that he might be running for president. Now that Donald Trump has become president of the United States, all rich people, billionaires, seem to be able to or think that they may have a chance. And I know Zuckerberg, fair, even Oprah Winfrey has talked about it. And so my fear is, well, I don't know. Is this a good thing? Because in one way, yes, it's a good thing, because now you don't have to hear your crazy Uncle Jack spread his alt-right propaganda, or your crazy cat lady aunt, you tell about her left and politics on your wall. Maybe that's kind of a solution to some of the issues surrounding, like the spreading of instant sort of issues. But I think that's actually not accurate. I think that I think that there's no way to control sort of the use of social media to push political agendas in any way from any person, and maybe Facebook is really trying to clean it up and organize the topics of whatever's in your current district. And there's another element to this too, which is this is just in your district, so it's going to be based off of your address in some way. And I know that I tend not to change my location with Facebook very often. If I go live in another city or state for 6 months, I'm not going to change it. I just don't need to. The people I know where I am and where to reach me. And it seems like it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know how to feel about whether or not I really care whether or not my local representative or district or congressman has more control over my thought process or what's going on with me if I don't directly write him a letter or pick up the phone and make a phone call like I'm supposed to when something goes wrong. Because I think that that almost sort of takes a voice away from people who don't use Facebook, which is me. I don't use Facebook. I have an account. I have a couple accounts, but I rarely ever use it anymore. So I don't know how I feel about, about this. I would like to see what comes from this. Like, is this a Zuckerberg tool to...
Let's set some ground rules here. We're not going to do conspiracy theories.
Okay.
And we're also not going to do party politics and fall out with each other, because this is irrelevant. This is about any party getting to any one. So,
absolutely.
Any commentary to come in? Jeff, you had a comment a little while back. I guess it was staring that Mark Zuckerberg is at least as scary as Donald Trump.
Well, where I was trying to go with that was now that Trump has done this, every billionaire in the country is probably thinking, well, geez, if he could do it, I bet I could too.
And that's not a bad thing in the case.
Well, no, and I didn't mean, I wasn't being political by that. What I was saying is Donald Trump has never had held any political office in his life before. He's coming in it from the perspective of being a successful businessman. So, to a lot of people, yes, that's exactly what they wanted. To others, but maybe not. And I'm not telling you one way or the other, how I feel. But what I'm saying is now it's opened up the door, because in the past, in American, at least in American politics, is that you had to have some sort of political experience. You usually had to be governor, sometimes state senator, but you had to kind of serve your time. And so that's what I meant. I didn't mean to say that.
But I think if you look at, probably Oprah might do a fairly good job of being a president, and she'd get the popular vote, and she'd probably win if she tried to. Bill might make a decent president. Bill Gates might make a decent president if Melinda let him, but Melissa let him. But it's not a de facto thing that just because you're a billionaire you're any good at solving world politics in the slightest. And Trump's proving that hand over fist, most definitely. Zuckerberg.
But if Bill Gates got in, you'd have to totally restart government every time they changed anything. That'd be
Nice.
But don't just think, every Tuesday there'd be something new to look at.
Exactly, yeah. The first Tuesday of every month, new policy day.
Yeah, we've detected that you have installed a new environmental impact bill. Would you like to restart? Click OK.
Every night the White House is bathed in blue light.
Oh, God, you imagine.
Alan's a Windows user, so we can't go too far.
It's funny because it's mostly true.
I knew I should have talked about the self-driving cars.
But do you know what? In terms of what Facebook are doing, look, we know that in the last couple of years, political parties, political entities of any kind have really upped their game in terms of targeting people on social media for all kinds of causes, whatever, from all sides of the political spectrum. See, this is extremely non-partisan. And I think there are a lot of companies that have sort of grown up out of supplying this kind of data analysis to these political entities. And Facebook are looking at that and thinking, hey, that's our data. We want money. And then they've invented this. So what Facebook have done is cut out that middleman between their user targeting and the politicians.
Facebook's MO is about engagement, isn't it? So why is this not just another mode of engagement?
I mean, it is. It's one of those things. Like 90% of what Facebook do, it is probably intended to be totally well-meaning and innocuous and helpful to the democratic process. It's just there might otherwise be things that make you shudder a little bit because it's Facebook. I don't know what, though. I need to see more details about it. But there's probably something. I mean, for God's sake, it's Facebook. Of course, there's a dark data collection thing underneath it all. That's their business. So.
I'm just saying it's Facebook. I don't know. I just don't use it.
At this point, are we trusting Facebook with our data? Really? I trust them to sell it and analyze it and do all that kind of thing.
And I mean, will you have to prove your party affiliation or your voter registration, and then to I don't know, give your or verify your address? That's one of the things I like about Facebook is you can be like anybody you want to be, and you don't have to, I don't know.
And also people, I think, follow, because social media is not just a way of showing your affiliation to something, but of following stuff put out by different entities. You'll follow political parties that you don't support just to see what they're saying. Like, I think the number of followers on the Britain First account in the UK is probably proof of that. That really, how many of those followers are real supporters and how many people want to see what dumb shit they post next? It's just one of those things.
There's a couple of comments going on in the chat room. Princess Bagel says that, can you imagine Clippy as president? And I said, don't be silly. Clippy would be Secretary of State. Hello from Princess Bagel. And And then my other thought was, you could just see like Bill sitting there typing in missile launch codes, and you get Clippy pop up going, I can clearly see that you're trying to type in missile launch codes. Would you like some help with that?
It was just a practice. Don't autocomplete. No!
Oh, no.
Oh,
Oh,
I've done that for you already. No! There's two things to think in my head. Number one is the positive element of this, which is Facebook's about engagement, and this is just another form of engagement. It's about getting one person to talk to another person who wants to be talked to. So
Absolutely.
if you follow your congressman, your politician, your MP, your whatever they're called everywhere else in the world, then so be it. You followed them, and you should be allowed to be engaged with them. Got no issue with that. Mm-hmm. First thought in my head is, where's the blue tick in Facebook to know that you are engaging with the right person, that there are a accredited person? Where's the blue tick, if you like, for Facebook?
Well, to be fair, this in that middle screenshot on the page, there is. We've got the sort of Martin Sanders has got the little house symbol that's now saying that he's in that constituent, and then the reply from Garrett Graves has a blue tick saying, yeah, he's the actual related MP.
Right.
It looks like they are
nice.
doing blue tick
Brilliant.
for the
wow.
politician, and you get a grey house saying you're in that politician's area. So they should listen to you more than just someone who's ranting and not one of their constituents.
So that is good. There is a follow process that then allows you to be engaged with your congressman or MP, and that's the way it should be, surely.
And honestly, I think it will. I mean, so many people use Facebook that I just know that there's quite a handful that don't. But it will allow for more grassroots organizations to get their message out and at least appear to be united and motivated and focused, more so than having to actually show up at an event, park your car, go to a meeting, go to a commission or or public hearing, and sit there and show your face. So I mean, it probably is. I mean, I'm always looking for the conspiracy, aren't I? So, I that's why I do a show on House of Cards.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I do think overall it probably will be a good thing. It's just, I don't know, when it comes to Facebook, I'm so reluctant. I don't know about anything. They could tell me they're going to send me free pizza for a year, and I would be reluctant.
I mean, there's a point here from
at least they'd know which pizza to send you.
Yes, exactly.
Point from Deep Pan, politics has to find ways to engage with younger voters as they're not voting. But actually, one of the things of today was, or the last 2 days in Britain, younger voters turned out.
Yeah.
There was a 70% turnout, which is okay. That's
Excellent.
really good. It's a long way short of an engaged democracy, don't get me wrong. But I'll take 70% over what we've had in the last few years when people really were disenfranchised by it. And a lot of young people voted. A lot of young people voted this time, which is nice. That's a qualitative statement, I know. I haven't got a number, but I'm trying to find one.
But yeah, you're right. It was 69%, I think I'd seen this time. Yeah. Oh, well, sorry, yeah, overall. But you're right. They said young people came out in droves. I am wondering whether some of that, I hope that it was for positive reasons. I am worried that a lot of it was they felt they didn't bother to vote for Brexit. It went the way that most of the younger generation might not have wanted it to go. And therefore they went, hang on, wait a minute. Maybe we do actually have to vote to avoid the old people taking us where we don't want to go. I hope it's carrot and stick got them voting. But
Mr. Sachs in the chat room says that he saw 75% of registered voters 18 to 24 voted.
Yeah, I saw the same thing.
That's great.
That's good. That's good. Other point from Sachs is what information are they going to gain from this that they're going to sell and then make money from? And that's a good point too. What information are they getting from this? If you look at the Facebook requests, there's got to be an algorithm running that's saying what was the request of your congressman or your MP, and then how do we sell that forwards to someone who deals in that process? So we are concerned about fracking in Alaska, because you're talking to your Alaskan congressman, and then all of that information is available for the fracking firm to buy in Alaska to target where would be best to frack and not hit the shit, or where to frack to, or who to go and see to duff up to make sure they can get more fracking. There's a film score there, isn't there? Film script, rather.
That's a bit scary, actually.
Use of Facebook data so that they can go around, and there's brown shirts running around knocking the crap out of people to get people to vote certain ways. Because they've seen on Facebook they voted the opposite. Potentially. Good stuff. I don't know how I feel about that. There's a lot of positives in it. There's a lot of, well, this is obvious, this is what they do. If you're talking about Zuckerberg running for president, that just scares the shit out of me. The man who invented hot or not.
Exactly.
He's not going to be banging interns, is he? No.
Oh, God. We shall see.
An errant hand from Trump could be the least of your worries. Who's next? Right, fast on the fingers then, chaps. Oh, tech support, Rich. That's the first time he's won. Well done, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm there.
Oh, yeah.
So this is...
Amazon killing off unlimited storage. Yeah, this was a Greek story. Big story this week.
I'm absolutely gutted. I was going to get that and just never quite got around to it. And it's gone now. What can you do? Yes, so they had an unlimited data storage plan, much like Microsoft had a little while ago. And it was something like, was it $60 a year?
Yeah.
Or something like that. And basically they've just said, no more. Just a terabyte for $60 a year. Okay. If that's, that's what they want to do, that's what they can do. That kind of just brings them in line with everybody else.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of gutted that they all kind of top out around 1 terabyte. And, I might want a bit more.
We're not an Apple show, but to be fair to Apple have got 2 terabytes for $10 a month, $6.99.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have. They've just upped that this week, haven't they?
Well,
Or
Right.
if you want to do another sneaky one that's quite good is if you get a Office 365 home plan, gives you 5 users. Each of those 5 users get 1 terabyte OneDrive, and then you can just link the other person's folder across. So you do have to only put 1 terabyte in each sort of folder, but you can
That's
actually
quite
link the
funny.
folders so you can drag and drop from one OneDrive to the other. And what's that? I think
did
it's
have
something like
OneDrive when-
$65 a year for Office and the effectively 5 terabytes of storage plus some Skype minutes.
Yeah, I did have that at one point when they had the unlimited storage, and I got quite into using it. And then when they switched it off, there was just no real point. So I just piled everything into Google Drive. I've just seen as well, Google Drive will give me 2 terabytes for $15.99 a month, which isn't terrible. But I just feel, wouldn't it be as simple
$15.99
as
a month?
$15.99 a month, 2
2
terabytes.
terabytes. So Apple are doing 2 terabytes for $6.99.
So now
Yeah.
they're the cheapest.
That's never happened before. But
Well, it was
I've
I've had the 1 terabyte plan for about a year and a half, and I love it. I've got to say, I'm not an online lover. I prefer stuff on a drive that can fail, so I have another drive just in case that drive fails, and then I have one that I take home regularly. And I don't see the cloud as a storage point for anything that I value in any great degree. But I've used iCloud, and I love iCloud. I've got to say, it feels rock solid. It feels stable. The only thing I really loathe about it is there's no selective sync. So I can't choose what's hogging my local storage compared to what I can just shove up in there and go, look, I want to get this, but I'll only want to get this once a month. So when I'm finished with it, I save it, and then I go, I'll kick this back up there, and I'll see you next month. Particularly things like accounts and stuff.
I think I'd get a lot more use out of iCloud Drive if it had selective sync.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
it
me
was
too.
when they added the sync your desktop and documents automatically. Great idea until it goes, oh yeah, and remember you keep that 26 gigabyte Parallels image in your documents folder. I'll just upload that for the next 10 years. That's fine. Like, no. Please stop.
Yeah, because that could have been a really good thing. Because when they announced the documents and desktop on in the cloud thing, I thought, well, that's great because I work across multiple Macs here and at work. But I've only got 128 gig MacBook Air. So like Rich says, if I dump a 50 gig video file at work, I get back here, and my Mac's not working anymore because I've run out of space. That's the only problem with it. So I go for OneDrive.
Yeah. What's everyone? I mean, what is the criteria for purchasing online storage these days? Is it reliability or is it just purely cost? Because for me, it's how secure I feel with it, most definitely. And I actually do feel very secure with iCloud. And that's with a history of Apple shafting you on a regular basis every 3 years. But I don't feel like I've lost the data if anything happens to that service. I know I can get it back. And I like that. Carbonite, I had Carbonite for a while, and in a year that I had Carbonite, it never uploaded my 2 terabyte hard drive that I had on my laptop.
Wow.
That trickled. You just want to go, look, okay, I'll plug it in. I'll leave my laptop at work over the weekend, plugged in. Just take it all, all right? Just do what you said you were going to do. But in a year, it never trickled up 2 terabytes. I thought, what's the point of that then? So that was 70 quid wasted.
I just got rid of my Carbonite account myself about a month ago. I just didn't have a need for it, and
you've been waiting for 10 years for it to upload 500 gig.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I've got a slow machine that I'm the one I'm considering that it just seemed to kind of bog it down, and it was just constantly, reminding me of that my mirror image wasn't updated and other things that was just sort of an annoyance, and I never really had a need for it. So I felt like I was paying too much for what they provide.
And with Carbonite, how often did you hear from people who didn't realize, because it was never clear, that when you try to do a complete system restore from it, you get sort of 2 kilobytes of bandwidth to download your backup with, and it's
Holy crap.
wait, you can do a full backup, but wait 2 years to download it again.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think I got to say, it felt really more like a pyramid selling scheme than it did a service. And when you said that to me, because I never actually had to try and restore, but if that was the case, then that's just taking the piss, because that would never have worked. It never took your data up, and it never gave it you back.
Basically, that was the problem. They're still there, aren't they? I'm just going to look it up and see if they're adequately explaining that.
Big thing.
Oh, it's not too late yet. So.
I mean, in the past, I had Crash Plan, which obviously kind of similar competitors to Carbonite. I found their software bogged down my machine and took an age to upload originally. Mm-hmm. Have found that one of the things with Crash Plan is as you upload more stuff, the first thing that it does before it uploads is actually look and locally work out whether or not you're uploading a duplicate file. So it actually spent, apparently, sort of 60 or 70% of its time working out, was this a duplicate file, or how could I save space up at their end? And so that's actually why it started to crawl more and more the larger size it was looking through what's already up there and trying to spot duplicates.
That's bad.
Apparently there is an option buried deep in Crash Plan's advanced settings that you can turn off that, and then suddenly it starts uploading much faster. But whether or not Crash Plan has a similar problem or feature, I don't know. But I just use, as I say, OneDrive associated with my with Office 365 accounts. It's great. And as I say, I daisy chain a few users, so I've got 3 terabytes of storage I'm using up there at the moment, and that works pretty well for me.
I'm rather lucky because I've got Anders in the Slack room who wrote me a little system called Dropzone, which allows me to store stuff up there and then send a link to customers so they can download it if they want, as well as. And that works brilliantly. So that's my kind of Dropbox after I got pissed off with Dropbox. So, and told them to shove it up their arse.
Can I ask kind of a novice question to you guys, since you would probably know the answer? So in this Amazon change, they're still going to allow members to receive unlimited photo storage. Why just photos? What's the advantage there?
Probably just the amount of space they take up. I mean, a photo library isn't that massive compared.
Well, what about text documents? I mean, I don't. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It depends what kind of usage they were seeing from people. I know that, is it a Plex Pass? You can upload your entire Plex library up to your Amazon Unlimited plan and just stream Plex from there. And that must have been absolutely nailing them if people were doing that. Yeah. People will have been backing up their entire hard drives and other things like that. So I don't know. They'll have... I think what we learned when Microsoft gave it up is that this business is actually a lot more complicated and expensive than we think. And the idea of offering unlimited storage for $60 a year is just not really viable at all for anyone.
It could be compression as well. They could have compression algorithms on the JPEGs, which make them a lot smaller.
Yeah, that's what Google do, isn't it? You can have full res ones or free unlimited if they're not full res.
It could be a lot of things, Jackie. There might not be a single answer.
Gotcha.
It wouldn't surprise me if part of it is that the idea for most consumers of having all of their photos for free or for a small price stored off location is very enticing. So you can use the unlimited photos as a carrot to draw people in. To
keep them there, yeah.
Yeah, to keep them there and to pay for their other storage services.
Gotcha.
A good story, mate. I'm not sure that... well, I mean, it's an evolving business, isn't it, constantly as well, Rich? So it's not, there is... What's happened there is not the de facto statement for what may be next week with a provider.
Exactly. And I think with Apple dropping theirs that low, or raising it they didn't change the price, they upped the storage. No. So did they raise something or lower it? I don't know, but they've reset a standard there, haven't they? So surely Google will have to match that.
It's a good storage system as well. It's a good cloud system, so that's why I like it. But we shall see. Champions League was used. New camera system, says Righty, for identifying wrongdoers.
Well, yeah, this quite scares me. So, South Wales Police are now using kind of facial recognition technology to search out for criminals that they're looking for or maybe a bit of trouble. Now, they said that, they used it in anticipation of the Champions League's final. So they had these special cameras on police vans and in the stadiums and all that sort of thing. And they had a database of 500,000 photos. And what's happened as the part of the month's trial that they're doing is someone's actually been arrested as part of this operation. And I'm thinking, one, that's quite cool, but two, that's actually quite scary because I didn't really think we were, are we that technologically advanced that we could, work out suspects or catch people based on facial recognition from massive databases like that? Because it's especially obviously it's in Wales, so Batwench will be on some of those databases somewhere. But it's just like there could be so much room for abuse or anything like that. Or I just wondered what everyone thought that. Would you feel safe that, because obviously some people look like other people and all that sort of stuff, and I might have a doppelganger here, there, and everywhere. How can they be sure that they're arresting the right person?
Well, they check your ID afterwards. You don't go to prison based on the picture, right?
Well, no.
Yeah, I would assume they'd let you go if they've got it wrong.
Yeah, I know, but it's still a scary experience, though, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I've never been arrested.
Especially if you're a law-abiding citizen like myself.
Well, but you've never been arrested.
I agree with you that it is on one hand quite cool, but on the other hand quite creepy. And I can't explain why I think that's creepy other than it just makes me feel like it's creepy.
Well, the interesting thing is that they used it at the Champions League game and they caught a bloke who wasn't actually anything to do with the game itself ananyway. He was a local player who just happened to show up on the database. Yeah. That's like, God hates you.
But the thing that worries me more is obviously we've got CCTV and all that sort of thing, and this is the trial in Wales. But there's also potential, for the CCTV network to start tracking me wherever I go.
There already is.
Yeah, but
they have to be tracking you already.
there's video all over the place that tracks your facial recognition systems that can be tapped into. There's number plate recognition all the way up and down the M1.
Oh, yeah,
and into all the big cities that tracks your number plate. That people know where you are, mate. Don't kid yourself that if you're a person of interest, the lot out at Cheltenham, GCHQ, and your local police force don't know where you are. They probably do. And this is the thing that gets me a little bit about the thing that they did with the guys that did the Manchester and the London thing last weekend. There's a big hoo-ha. Oh, these guys were known to police. Well, yes, but saying you want to do something is different from actually doing it.
Mm.
And I am proud of the fact that we are not 1930s Nazi Germany or Saddam's Iraq or Gaddafi's Libya, where people have their liberty until they do something wrong and then we prosecute them. And everyone that's gone on, when Piers Morgan and all of the Sky News guys, when they've gone on, they've absolutely hammered politicians saying the police knew about this. Why didn't they do something? The thing that bothered me was that not one of them said back, "Okay, tell me what law I'm going to arrest them for, and I'll do it."
And they can't.
They can't, because that would be the answer that would just kill it stone dead. Oh well, praying to a flag in a park. Sorry, I can't arrest them for that. That's not an offence. Inciting racial hatred. Tell me where they did it and when they did it. I'll arrest them, but they didn't. Wearing a loud shirt in a built-up area, walking on the cracks in the pavement. I'm sorry. Okay, fair enough. But I'm proud of the fact that this country is so democratic that it allows people to have their liberty until they've done something wrong.
Yeah, no, completely agree. But obviously, I don't know what technology they're using for this or how accurate it is, because we've seen from certainly consumer technology that facial recognition is not really that great. Well, I guess they've got something that we don't really know about. I don't know where they got the system from. But it'd just be interesting to see what the results of it actually are, but be creeped out at the same time.
Yeah, no.
It's basically just an extension of a policeman recognising you, though, isn't it?
Out of a crowd.
It's technology acting as an initial filter and highlighting potential matches, and then you would hope, and at the moment I would suggest there is still then obviously a human brain involved and saying no, that's a false positive, or that's worth sending someone to go tap him on the shoulder and ask for his ID, just check that he's who we think he is. But yeah, I mean, further down the line, obviously it potentially gets scary is once the facial recognition is directly hooked up to a fully automated response, and hopefully we're a reasonably long way from that. But facial recognition, and as Ewan says, the easier ones to do, like number plate recognition and stuff, there is, so much that is automated data crunching now. I'm kind of surprised they made such a big hoo-ha about this being a first arrest using facial technology.
But I think I think one of the things that this does provide is, if this is a successful system and does do accuracy levels that are of a value, people that are going on about, well, why didn't you lift this person before they did something wrong? This technology then can be cited elsewhere in the city, and then you can start to track this person. You can't. There's 30,000 people of interest to the police. Most of the police know most of the criminals already. But it takes like 12 people to track one person for one day. You can't just suddenly drop everything and surveil one person and expect it to be a corporately viable or commercially viable operation, economically viable. It would take budgets beyond belief. Whereas this system would say, okay, I've lost this person, but they pop up again, and then you start to see them going towards large venues and that kind of stuff. Then you start to think, okay, well, now I'll send some officers to apprehend them. And that's when you then intercept the terrorists.
I suppose you could work out patterns and stuff as well,
exactly,
couldn't you?
Yeah, there we go. Patterns of movement, where they saw, what their known accomplices were, etc., that kind of thing.
Technology like this is not surprising. It's, I mean, just as an example, look what we're doing with photos on our iPhones. I mean, they're doing their own facial recognition stuff right in our pocket. So something on a larger scale that can track people around a country, I'm not surprised. the big surprise for me is that we haven't heard about arrests from systems or where they use systems like this already. And the big concern I see is that once you can easily track people, then it becomes a lot more likely that people will start tracking like this just as a matter of course. And to me, that's the real creepy part here, because at that point we've gone from using this as a tool to sift through information to help us locate a suspect for a crime that we know has been committed to just mass surveillance, watching people to see if they do something and then use that, whatever it is, against them. That part's creepy.
Yeah.
As long as they're not working on an army of Ed 209 robots, I think we're okay for that.
Go ahead, Jackie.
No. I didn't mean to interrupt, because I don't bring much to this conversation, but I started reading this and I thought this was just at like one particular sports ball arena, but apparently this is something that could be taken to anything. So it could be taken to, gosh, what was that big concert that they had in Manchester this weekend?
Yeah, the One Love concert, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely that would be a great place to have had that technology. In my mind as an American, or at least my understanding of the UK is that you've got CCTV everywhere, that you've got a lot, like almost every area is covered. And in a way that scares me to no end, because that's not something that we really have in the United States. But for the most part, depending on what city you're in. But on the other hand, it's kind of like it's a little refreshing to know that there's at least some sort of surveillance there that makes it less likely that something terrible is going to happen at whatever event you're at. So I don't know how I tend to sway on the side of privacy over security, but I don't know. So many terrible things are happening that I'm wavering.
But you have no privacy in public. That's the whole point. That's why it's called
true.
Public and not private.
You're absolutely right, and you have no privacy on the internet too, and that's something people forget. Like, there's nothing on the internet that you should put on the internet that you don't expect to come back to you in some way.
I don't have a problem. In terms of privacy, I don't have a problem with this, Van, because it's tracking me when I'm in public, and that's all it's doing is seeing what someone else can see. The thing that it's doing beyond that is it's them going, hang on, I know you, I want you, you're here for a reason, and that's what it is.
So this is specifically scanning for a particular face profile that they know of.
It's taking facial recognition, then it's comparing it to a database and saying, is this person someone that we want to lift, or someone that we know of, or someone that we should track? People of interest. So if you look at that, it was used at the Champions League final, so that's a European event. So you're talking about every single person in Europe who is of interest through football violence or through criminality, up to 500,000 people, was scanned and referenced against that database. That's great technology. That's impressive technology.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
impressive.
and it swipes over the average person, and that doesn't get stored or kept. It's basically they're looking for particular targets.
Yeah, you're not a person. You're not a person of interest, so therefore it doesn't regard you and doesn't keep you. It's comparing you against a database, and if you don't fall in that database, you're washed out. Whether it keeps an image of you, well, who cares if it keeps an image of you? Because you're in public. I could take a picture of you and keep that image of you, and I'm not breaking the law.
Yeah.
But then if you were taking pictures at lots of events and saw faces cropping up all over the place, then you could start to use that information in a kind of really creepy way, I suppose. And it's like it's very different that because absolutely, it's totally legal for you to take a picture of anyone in public. That's how it should be. But you taking a picture of a crowd, you can't then go analyze each face in that crowd in the blink of an eye and know even if you don't know their name, you can store that information that those faces were there. And if those faces crop up again in another photograph that you've taken at another major event, then you can start to correlate things like that. And that could be used to target protesters or activists in different areas and that kind of thing. But then again, that's the kind of thing that we have rules and regulations on how technology is used, and you can regulate that kind of thing. It's just a little unnerving to realize that this stuff exists, I suppose.
Yeah, we just got to make sure we elect the right people, right? just elect the right people, and everything will be fine.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
We'll just do that. Yeah.
Oh, mate, the right people is a phrase that just doesn't hold water, I'm afraid, unfortunately.
Okay, well,
did you see the episode of Radiolab with the firm that did the very high-level camera? They flew around at about 6 miles high, and they shot pictures of a thing, and every second they shot an image of a town. And then they used it down to fight crime in the northern
it was like
Mexican
Baltimore
times,
or something.
Yeah, but they used it in what's the place? What's the town that's right at the border? The Mexican town that's right at the border with America.
Juarez.
Juarez, yeah, they used it at Juarez to deal with the drug problem. And
Juarez, definitely.
This guy was up flying around, taking a picture every second. And then they got a report that a girl, a cop, had left her house in the morning. A car had pulled her, sprayed her with machine gun fire, and then driven off. And they just kept taking the pictures. Then they went back and they went to her house. They saw, and she wasn't. She was a speck. I mean, she was like 1 pixel in the image that you could see, and it tracked her getting into her car. Her car was like 20 pixels. And then it tracked her car to the junction where she was killed. Then it tracked the car from where it had gone and watched where it went. And within 6 or 8 hours, they'd made busts of all of their known associates. They'd got loads and loads of drugs, and they'd got the people who shot her.
Oh, wow.
And they tried to use it in a US town, and everyone was screaming blue murder over invasion of privacy. And I was like, that's not an invasion of your privacy. And said, well, how long till someone use it to say that a congressman goes and shags his girlfriend and they track the data with using this system? And like, that's not what it's built for. It's built to catch criminals, and I do trust the police to catch criminals. I'm sorry, call me naive and old, but I really do.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what sort of system you create, someone is going to abuse it at some point. So sure, something like this could be used to destroy someone's political or professional career, and it would eventually happen. But I remember the episode that you're talking about, Ewan, and the technology is amazing, and it's crazy useful. And when it's been used, like in the Middle East, it was incredibly useful there for good goals, and being able to track down the people that killed the cop. I mean, that was fantastic. And then the tests that the city in the United States did with this.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing what they were able to accomplish. And it was all very positive. They were able to very effectively reduce crime without like really imposing on anyone's rights. And
financially, it was brilliant.
Yeah. And so then after they finished the trial and they started talking about what they were doing and having the public hearings, that's when everyone freaked out and had a meltdown. And this amazingly powerful and useful system, they just walked away from it, because even though it was doing so much good, it just wasn't worth the fight with the misinformed public.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that was exactly it.
Wow.
Interesting conversation. Good story, Righty. Good story. There's nothing illegal there because it's public. That's the only thing you can always say. Who's got the next story then? Baltimore Secret Surveillance, says Google in the chat room. Thank you, mate. Alan, what to expect at E3?
Yeah, I thought I'd take us lighter, and we're heading into a big week of gaming. Obviously, sort of all kicking off Sunday. I'm excited to see all sorts of things coming out, but Engadget has a sort of reasonably impartial overview So obviously we've got it's mainly Microsoft who's got new hardware this year with their Project Scorpio, native 4K gaming console. Will be sort of fully announced. We know lots of details about it already because they've gone and got quite a few of the hardware stuff out the way, apart from showing what the actual box or things like that will look like. Kind of that'll be interesting in terms of this is actually, well, it's now Microsoft and Sony both kind of treating the console market more like PC tiered release, in that obviously PlayStation has the PlayStation and the PlayStation Pro. The Pro does seem to have been lacking a bit of a grunt hardware wise at the moment to be able to really pull off full native 4K. But Sony and PlayStation 4's currently got more momentum, although Xbox has been doing a lot better since the S came out. But I think it's going to be, Scorpio is going to be like a premium gaming PC. It's not, at least initially, going to be priced for the mass market like a console normally would be. But it's for those people. But then again, you kind of need or want to have a decent 4K TV. So if you've gone and bought yourself a 4K TV, you're, not necessarily, in the budget or middle category. Well, that's starting to come down. The prices of the decent 4K TV is tumbling very nicely, isn't it?
I bought one for under £300 the other week.
Whoa!
and it's 60 frames a second.
Oh, it's 60 frames a second. Blimey!
So it's good.
I'd say, I know I'd say obviously you're very picky visuals wise, and if it's pleasing you for that price.
Well, I used it for an exhibition. It's the one that sits to the right here because I put a Muller TV up that he's complaining about, and he's got. Never mind, moving on. But I've got a 50-inch Seiki here, and it's 60 hertz refresh, and it's a good TV. No problem with it at all. 4K.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, in that case, we don't know what the price of the Scorpio is going to be, but rumours are it could be, sort of 500 quid. So it could cost you more than the TV.
I mean, I got a question that kind of overarches the story there, Alan, and everyone else. How relevant is E3? Because, I mean, most of what's going on. And in previous years, I've known what's coming at E3 before it's come to E3, which has made me switch off from E3. And this year, I hadn't even clocked that E3 was coming up. I was so disengaged from it.
Yeah, I think it is still big and important, but you're right that like some of the other events, it's sometimes a bit too much, and it's all news squashed into things. So I think a lot of the gaming people have been trying to move and spread their news across the year more, so that they get more oxygen. Not fighting so many people. The good thing is, I think there is a big concentration on the games, and so E3 is still a massive catalyst for sort of the latest trailers and the latest updates on all your games. Obviously, this year I think is the first year that they've offered public tickets. Because I say officially E3 has only ever been for press, but obviously a lot of the games companies invited and offered a lot of fans tickets in, and when they said press, that went down to some people even making up relatively small blog sites just so they could go and attend E3 as press. But it'll be interesting to see what all the major players come out with. I mean, I'm looking forward to quite a lot of the games that are coming out. I've been playing Destiny 1 as my main multiplayer game for 2 years or more now, and so I'm very ready for Destiny 2 to hit this September, and the beta before that. But yeah, it's finding time to play is the big problem, and finding time to watch all the announcements. I imagine there'll be quite a lot of stuff around VR, although Microsoft said nothing's coming for its console in VR until next year, 2018. Scorpio is built to power VR. I imagine Sony will be showing off a lot more PlayStation VR stuff again this year.
I'm actually starting to get excited about that. It's it's something I've not allowed myself to get excited about because it's a lot of money for I don't know what yet. Like, with the Kinect, how many people jumped on the Kinect and then went, great, what games have you got? And Microsoft went, none really. But
Exactly.
Thank you for buying that Kinect. We'll have an Xbox One version that also has no games. So I'm not spending 300 quid on a VR headset for my PlayStation until there's lots. But what have we got? Star Trek Bridge Crew. Yes, please. And I'm seeing today Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown to be unveiled at E3, and that's PS4 VR. And also, we're looking at maybe Fallout 4 VR.
Yeah, Fallout 4 VR seems to be the new buzz, big game for VR. I agree with you, and I mean I'm still obviously of the opinion that I'd prefer AR one out over VR because it's just that there's going to be whatever they do, there's still the problems when you are fully enclosed and your peripheral vision's cut off that you've got tendencies towards motion sickness, and they have to work so hard to reduce the latency to try and stop motion sickness and just disconnect. And it's also but I think we all want immersive, and gaming is a very obvious one where you can disappear out of the physical space you're in and put yourself in the game, and hopefully with friends that you're playing with in the game, because that's a more modern connected way of doing things. Although I do like a bit of couch co-op is still good fun, isn't it? Especially if you can have people around the house.
Is that like a sex thing? I missed something there.
Oh, yes.
No, Ewan. Couch co-op is just playing cooperative games in the same room on the same couch.
I'm
the
still
Lego
lost.
game?
Is that a sex thing, Alan?
I was going to say,
Yes,
No.
you.
I
Yes,
don't
it
think you've really
absolutely is.
clarified there, mate.
Is that like Netflix and chill?
Okay.
I used to couch co-op like you wouldn't believe in my younger days.
It's fine, Ewan, go and search couch co-op and nothing bad will come up, honest. By the way, I have a message. There we go. Good night for Princess Bagel. But yeah, I mean, E3 is very much like the Super Bowl. It's a hell of a spectacle, but it's probably a bit too big. It's probably a bit too loud.
That summarises the youth of today. You type in couch co-op to Google, there isn't a single porn image.
That's one of the most disappointing things I've heard all day.
It is. It just sums up the youth of today. And I was listening to Bill Maher the other day, and he was saying the problem you've got with games at the moment is all that kids want to do is shoot the shit out of each other. The big selling games are all about shooting and hacking. And that's it. There's the Mario Karts of the day are gone. The Jetpack, Jet Set Willy, that kind of stuff. They're gone. It's all about the shoot 'em ups.
I mean,
it's fun.
did you just bemoan the loss of Jet Set Willy?
Don't tell me that Jet Set Willy was not one of the best games ever.
I love that game.
It was what it was.
It was one of the best games. I love Jet Set Willy. I loved Manic Miner, and I love Jetpack. Jetpack was my favourite of all.
Those were the days.
Tell you what, the newer versions of the later versions of Jetpack are really hard. As I say, I played, I think, whatever it was, effectively the third or fourth version of Jetpack on a retro gaming pack recently. My God, that's hard.
It was a hard game to get to the end. I finished Jetpack and Manic Miner, but it was like hours and hours and hours of gaming, more than I've had to do to finish off Sniper 4. Kids don't know they've got it so easy these days.
But you're right, Ewan. I mean, there are some other alternatives, but Minecraft is carrying a huge burden of kind of the the really popular non-shooter and kind of more positive constructing game. And obviously we've got a lot of good indie games and stuff, but you really have to look for them, or you have to be told about them. It is tricky to compete with the blockbuster. I mean, I do tend to find I've ended up playing more and more of sort of short format shooter games as things have gone on, just because you can play the game. You can play the game for an hour and you feel you've kind of done or achieved multiple steps or done things. Whereas if I sit down to my actual personal preference of, a decent single player story game, an hour, what have you done? You might have progressed halfway through a side quest and you've gone and rifled through your inventory a few times, and it's kind of, an hour's not enough. So I think I've personally been driven to more action games, just because I don't have 4 to 6 hours on a Saturday to sit down and play games anymore.
You need a Switch. Sorry, I don't really. I just had to say that. I felt obliged.
You love your Switch, I know you do, and I know Lee Peterson loves his Switch as well. He says it's awesome.
On that article, it was talking about, obviously, Switch is out, some good initial games, but that Nintendo really needs to sort of get the volume going as well, because it is pretty sparse. It's high quality, but the software lineup seems very sparse at the moment, and obviously initially also Nintendo had to launch with some features missing of the console. Have they gone and filled those out yet in terms of virtual console and stuff?
Not yet. I think we're kind of hopeful that we'll see something virtual console based at E3. But we do know that they've said that their E3 show will be 30 minutes long. And that just leaves you with, what can you do for half an hour that's really going to knock my socks off?
Meanwhile, Xbox has warned that their E3 show is going to be longer than the normal 90 minutes. So they're apparently doing more than an hour and a half on their presentation on Sunday night, 10 p.m. UK time.
I hope Nintendo shows new things rather than just sort of more about stuff we already know about. I think there's going to be more about Super Mario Odyssey. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm now, as we're doing the show, seeing rumors of an Animal Crossing Switch. So if you're into Animal Crossing games, you might want that.
Yeah.
Is that like a Dr. What's-Its Island type thing, or are we talking about Frogger?
Frogger?
I honestly don't know if I would ever recommend you an Animal Crossing game. I would, if you have a daughter of maybe an age where she still likes princesses, then maybe Animal Crossing would be a great game for her.
Okay, I have.
Or then it's all little puppy characters and they're all animal based. It's so adorably cute. It's sickening.
Good.
But in terms of the type of games they are, they're very good. They're just, yeah.
Okay.
Look them up on YouTube. You'll see what I mean.
Good story. E3 runs next week.
Kicks off from Sunday onwards, but officially it's Monday to Thursday, but some of the press conferences kick off on Sunday.
Excellent. Watch if you're interested. Jeff, do you have your story for us?
I do.
Based on the fact you've held it back, mate, I have.
No, I dropped it in, but I dropped it again for you. So there you go. Now you really, really have it.
SoftBank is buying robotics firm Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, so it looks like SoftBank wants to be the go-to company for all your robotic needs. I mean, they already bought a couple other companies. They already have some consumer robotic products on the market, and now they own Boston Dynamics, and that's the company that makes the dog.
Is it a done deal?
Yeah, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Google sold off Boston Robotics.
Oh. Are they the one, the shit scary dog that you can't kick over?
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
I see.
And Google also sold them Shaft, which is the other robotics company that's doing like an upright bipedal robot thing. So, I mean, they at this point, I think SoftBank has enough robotics technology under their control to start making Terminator a reality.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can't actually just check, the source code or the latest trademark thing and find out that SoftBank's actually called Skynet.
Right.
Yeah, spot the
I
dog.
think they're developing Ed 209s to sell to our police forces. That's what is going on here.
That's
I
it.
think.
I've put the link for Spot the Dog into the Slack into the chat room. The thing that always got me with Spot the Dog is when you saw 2 or 3 of them and they're trotting over open ground, and it's
That's the
like
one.
they're barely touching the ground. Like you know when you see a sprinter trot back to the start line, and it's like it's effortless, but they're streaky fast. And that's what these things look like. And you can just see them loaded with some packs with bombs inside them, running into Tora Bora to see off the terrorist threat. It's or charging into a group of people and doing something else. They are scary, scary, lithe creatures
Yeah.
that are just, and like you said, like Whitey said, there's the guy, the
Yeah, they
spot is
kick
on
'em.
ice, and they kick him over on ice, and the thing just staggers like a proper dog would and comes back and goes, sod off, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
While that
if I
is
was
very
working
clever,
at Boston Dynamics and they said go kick the robot so we can test it, I'd be like, nope, you go kick it, because when they take over, I want them to remember I'm not the guy that was kicking them. But yeah, watching these things go like through the woods and stuff,
Wow.
it's it's
Yeah.
amazing, and it's
All right, so go to 1 minute 25, 1 minute 17, 1 minute 17, and watch the one running, and then look at the 2 of them running towards you.
No, that's.
And they're like prancing horses.
I would poop my pants and then just faint and die.
Yeah.
Imagine a swarm of those coming at you.
I would
I would just give up. I would give up on everything. I would say, hey, I had a nice life.
How are these more useful than drones?
Because they can carry a larger load for a start.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
true.
you can load these
No,
up with a lot, and you can send them in places where drones can't
You can stick
easily go.
You can stick 50 to 100 pounds of explosive on this thing.
Yeah,
But-
and yeah.
No,
So
it's
let's say
And-
you have
and
two
you will
people that are on
scare
the ground.
drone than
This
a
can go with
four-legged
them
robot.
and carry equipment.
You will scare the pants off of your enemy.
There is that, I suppose.
You put them in a jacket that gives an electrostatic shock if someone touches it and run it into a crowd. It's pro tip.
Because, you would feel like, okay, I'm going to turn and run. But, like, as you're running, you're going to know that this thing's going to catch up with you because it's mechanical.
Yeah, and
Like,
it can
oh.
definitely run faster than you.
Scared.
Alan, who's a Windows user, is on a PC and it's crashed. So if you're just wondering where he's gone in the top left corner, he's rebooted it.
Whoops.
They are, like I said, that one where they're just 2 of them trotting towards you just makes
Yeah.
you want to let out a bit of poo. It is just...
Yeah, it's
Just a little
surreal.
bit, yeah. Absolutely.
I know that
absolutely.
science fiction inspires a lot of people in this area, but I'm trying to think of a film featuring lots of robots, and it was shown as being a good idea. Because it's like Blade Runner, iRobot,
point.
Point.
Westworld. Who watches Westworld and thinks, yeah, we should do that? No.
I did like Westworld, mostly for the nudity at the start.
Well,
Oh,
sure.
the TV show was
But
great,
the-
absolutely. But
No, but then the thing was that I actually got into the storyline as well, and I was really wrapped at the end. And there was no nudity in the last episode, which I was really taken by.
Oh my god, I didn't even realize. You're right. Well, that's how wrapped up I was in the show.
You haven't
I
even noticed that the nudity stopped.
Yeah, I hadn't even noticed.
Yeah,
Damn.
that's how good a series it was.
Yeah.
But if they try and make it last for 7 seasons like they do with House of Cards, they're going to struggle.
No, absolutely.
Could you put
No.
a minigun on that boy, says Mr. Sachs. Well, yes. but
Absolutely.
Well, you're going to struggle with enough rounds of ammunition because a minigun goes through them at 50 rounds a second. So,
So you have a second one loaded up with ammo, and they run in tandem.
yeah, but you're still not going to get enough. Ammunition's really heavy. You'd know that, Jeff. You carried
Oh, I know.
Bullets, so.
But there's no reason why you couldn't put some sort of armament on a robot like this and send it out. You know, maybe you send it out to be like a sniper, so it doesn't need to have hundreds of rounds.
It's got 5 bullets and a gun that you can remotely trigger. Yes.
Yeah, and then how about if you get it to the point where you tell it, here's your target. We just took the facial recognition data from the UK. Go out and find these 7 targets and come back when they're gone.
The only thing you got to say though is, you look at snipers where they bury themselves effectively, and they're worried about the glint coming off the end of their scope. You know, this thing, you're going to see this thing coming from a mile away.
Yeah, you are.
You paint it dark green, you're good to go though.
This is definitely deterrent, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you see, like, I'm looking at the image of, like, I think it's like the first still of this video where they're showing all of the robots side by side, and I actually think maybe the human standing ones would scare the crap out of me the most. But if they could create one where it had like 8 legs, like a spider, and it came at me, I would just die. I would melt and die and fall on the floor and say, you can have whatever you want.
I don't agree. I think here, you think of like someone like John Cena running towards you versus a lion running towards you. I'm filling my arse with the lion. I'll at least last a few minutes with John Cena. I'll give as good as I get for a while. Whereas
but there's no negotiation with this robot, and that's in your mind. It's like, this is not a human being who can talk.
It's like that trotting is like a wildcat that is coming to just devour you, and your mind is playing tricks with you at that point. It's just
and something like this, it doesn't know fear. So you tell it, go and complete this task. There will be no hesitation. There will be no self-doubt. It will go and complete the task.
See, if what you need is to incorporate a human brain, possibly from a recently deceased police officer. I'm gonna keep hitting everybody with RoboCop references. I'm sorry.
No, you see now, Deepan has put a link there in the chat room saying bipeds, and it shows the bipeds, and the bipeds look like the freaking Honda doll. They're just not scary. The one looks like Robbie the robot.
Yeah, they don't.
They don't look scary as they're coming towards you. It's like, if I push you, you're screwed. They're going to fall over in a heartbeat. See, look at the way it's walking. It doesn't even straighten its legs.
I guess it's because
it walks like it really, really needs to get to the restroom right now.
It walks like I do after a show night with Muller here, and we crack the whiskey open.
It's not scary.
It's not scary at all. It's about lifting boxes, whereas the doggy thing just fills me.
But what if it had 8 legs like a spider?
There are those versions from different companies, but yeah, those are out there too. And they're just as creepy as you think.
Yes. Yeah, there's something about having those extra legs that go above your body. Like, that would just no.
Is there a bit of this that, in my own mind, you could just see that Sergey and have sat down with the heads of Boston Dynamics and gone, so tell us where you're at then. And they've gone, okay, so what we've actually figured out how to do now is put a thermonuclear device in this thing and trot it into where we need to go. And they've gone, we're out.
Yeah.
We're Google that does no evil, and we do a little bit of evil, but it's not really bad evil. But this,
it's not species-ending evil.
Yeah, exactly. We'll collect a bit of data here and there, but, thermonuclear explosion in the middle of town, no.
Oh, God, I'm so creeped. I'm going to have nightmares tonight. Thank you guys so much. I'm so glad. So honored and excited to be on this show today.
It's
now
what we do.
I'll have nightmares. Thank you.
Batwinch has just put spider, then Mr. Batwinch would scream like a girl, and I'd have to deal with it. Oh dear.
Oops.
Dear.
Well, it's good to know who handles what in a relationship. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and looks like Batwinch is the spider wrangler in that relationship.
I'm okay with all creepy crawlies and that kind of stuff, but I'm not good with birds. I hate flapping. Big wing flapping just does me. Butterflies and birds, I'm not a good one. I don't know why. I've never had an episode with one. I'm just not good with the flapping.
I have a butterfly thing. If
Yeah. It's a
and a moth thing. Moths. Fucking. Oh. Sorry.
What? You know that they said.
I'm not laughing because the moths bother you. I'm laughing at your delivery. That was fantastic.
Yeah. I reminded myself that moths continue to exist, and that just freaked me out a little bit.
Sharon bought me for a Father's Day present from the kids. She bought me an experience with falconry, and they had this eagle owl there, and this eagle owl was about this kind of tall, sort of 3 foot tall, and it looked massive. And the guy came over and put it on my hand, and I held it on a glove, and it weighed next to nothing. It was incredible how big it was, but how insignificant it felt in terms of weight. And then this thing starts flapping, and it was as much as I could do to control myself not to punch it in the face, to trying to just fear of flight and smack.
Oh my word.
Oh, I hated it.
That probably would have gone very poorly for you.
Yeah, I guess it would.
I would have gone poorly, and it doesn't look good in front of the kids to see a grown man punching an elegant bird in the face
and screaming at the same time
and screaming. Yeah,
I've never punched a bird in the face. Moving on. The Bash is coming up. If you'd like to come to the Bash, it is July the 1st. I've picked a fairly poor weekend because it seems like the weekend for dance competitions around the whole bloody country. But if you'd like to come, go to BritishTechNetwork.com/bash tickets and get yourself a ticket. There are plenty of tickets left, it has to be said, this year, whereas we've run out nearly in the past. There's quite a few left this year. If you'd like to come, if you're thinking, I wonder whether I should come, this is the year to come. Most definitely, because we have tickets left over. And you can...
and chocolate brownies, presumably.
Yeah, the food that we have is absolutely awesome. It's just incredible food. And you don't need to bring anything but yourselves. We're going to lose money on it this year again, but who cares? It's going to be good fun. It'll be great. Bring a bottle with you if you fancy, but that's okay. We've had a review. Thank you to...
should we apologize now?
Thank you to Crikey Trousers. Bringing blue skies in on a rainy day. I love this network. Listen to these guys. It's genuinely like having a bit of a crack down your local. Insightful, sometimes daft, a lot. Tomfoolery japes with gay abandon, constant. If you want up to the second tech news with rapier accuracy, go to another show. If you want a chuckle with guys who know their stuff, crack open a Guinness and stick around. Also, come to the Bash. It's great fun. If only to witness how many Aspels Righty Boy can drink.
Oh, God. Got a reputation, though.
Yeah. And we've had a couple of others for the Max Show that say, great show, long-time listener, thanks very much, as always. So thank you very much to those people. If you'd like to leave us a review, please do. It makes a difference to us in iTunes. It's absolutely wonderful to read. And we read the good ones out as well as the bad, unless they're personal. And someone wrote a personal one in America the other week in the iTunes store. So if you want to go and find it if you're in the States and just slag him off.
Silly Americans.
It was really personal. And it was over something that someone said, and it wasn't to do with us. And then I told him to shove it up his arse, and then he wrote a review saying I was an arsehole. So, fair enough. It's all right. I am sometimes.
It happens.
I think people forget that you do this for free, and the thing is, the cocks listened to it for like 8 years, and then, right, one word out of place, and he writes a review that summarises 10 years of podcasting. So that's what pisses me off. But there we go.
Right.
Definitely. Like, these are the same people who won't actually complain at a store or at a restaurant because they're afraid the waiter or waitress is going to spit in their food. You know.
Yeah. Thank you to UK2 for supporting us. They're absolutely brilliant. If you'd like to support them, that would be great. They've just renewed our subscription, our domain name, if you like. And also the server's renewed for another 9 years, which is incredible. So that means we'll have been with them for nearly 20 years by the end of that. And they've looked after us. If you value what we provide, they mean that we get no costs to what we provide. Please support them. Buy your domains from UK2 or any of the other services they offer, VPS, VPN and so on, co-location services. They are brilliant. Alan has been a UK2 customer for 20 years already, and he's going to be a
23
customer.
now.
23 years, there you go. And he's going to be a UK2 customer for another 10 because that's how long they're going to support us. So look after them. And Hoya, there's great news coming up with Hoya. Uniku is ready. I am going down next month. I'm going to have my face measured. We're going to make a video of it all, and you're going to see me with my custom-made glasses from Hoya. It's going to be awesome. I'm actually going, in preparation for this, I'm going to go and have my eyes tested again. Make sure that they're absolutely custom perfectness at the end of this month. And last but by no means least, if you like anything from Hoya, if you want the Avantex, which is the ones I'm wearing here now, or you want to inquire about Unica and when it's going to come to your area, then send an email to podcast@hoya.co.uk, and that means anywhere in the world where you hear this, you can still send it there. That address will get you your local representative and will get you hooked up with some special red carpet BTN treatment, I promise you. And we've got a competition. Would you like a Spider 5 Express? This is a screen calibrator to go on your screen. You put it on, and if you're into your photos, even in the slightest way, you've definitely got to have the right colours coming out of your screen. This thing rests on your screen, you do the measurements, it calculates them from what shows up on the screen, and it sets your screen to look exactly right. Okay, it balances absolutely all of the colours so that they look perfect. White balance point and black point and all that kind of stuff. These things are 80 quid a piece, and they go up to 250 quid a piece. So if you would like to buy one of these Spider 5 Expresses, then you're more than welcome to. They're great. But all you've got to do is send us an email to britishtetnetwork@gmail.com telling us what are the primary colours on your standard monitor, and you will win one of these potentially. We've got 3 to give away. We've got a draw this month, draw next month, and draw the month after. There you go. So send us an email to britishtetnetwork@gmail.com. What are the 3 primary colours on your monitor, and you could win one of these. Well worth doing. Have we got a cool thing then, Sir Alan?
Yeah. I couldn't resist. I don't consider it political anyway. I just consider it a fantastic Anchorman alternative piss take. It's a video. Seems to be done by BBC Three. And I don't know whether you remember, I think it was Anchorman film, Anchorman 2, where there's a fight between the various new Anchor Channel people. They have done this brilliantly and superimposed pretty much all the UK political party major people there. Put a nice voice track with it as well, and it's just it's very funny, very very funny. So, yeah. Make sure you check it out. Be careful about toggling it into HD, because you really don't want to see some of these politicians' faces in HD.
Did you see Did you all see the GIF today of Jeremy Corbyn going for the high five?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was awesome.
That was fantastic.
That was super. I need to find that. Good pick, mate. Thank you very much. Jeff, what do you have for us?
Oh, let me drop this in the chat room for you. Oh, come on. Let me learn how to use keyboard shortcuts properly. There we go. Okay. So this is a brand new thing from Elgato. It's their Eve degree, and this is it right here.
Okay.
So this is similar to the Eve Weather that's already available, except that it's smaller, and it has a display on it, and it's from what they say, it's surprisingly accurate. I haven't had a lot of time to test it yet, but I love that it has that display on it right now, or now, so you can get or you can see what the reading is without having to pull out your smartphone to see what it says. And sadly, because my air conditioning is off, you can see my office is getting really warm. So that's what, like 24 degrees
I couldn't tell
for you guys, because you live in the rest of the world.
Can't you change the units on it?
It switched units automatically when I set it up, and I just haven't had time to go back and change it. So it knows where you are, and it chooses Fahrenheit or Celsius based on that for you automatically. But you can go and change it. I just haven't yet.
Okay.
So it's HomeKit compatible.
Cool.
And it has a nice little hook point on. I can't get that to focus for you. There it is.
It.
hook point on the back so that you can, hang it on the wall. It works indoors and outdoors, and their specs say that it's good down to 0 Fahrenheit. And what I found out, because I was asking very specifically about that. I live in Colorado. It gets below that on a regular basis in the winter.
But not in your house, fortunately.
Not in my house, luckily. But, this is indoors, outdoors. So, I can put it outside. It's okay. It will still work. It will still take readings. It will still send that data back to your phone for you. It's just the display won't work. And that's a limitation of LCD in cold weather. So I think this thing looks nice, and I like that
It does.
that it has that display on it. And I'm going to be comparing how accurate it is in relation to the weather, which is another one of the products. And anyhow,
Cool.
it's
Price?
it's $69,
That's
I
a
believe.
lot of money. I know it integrates. Does this thing then help change the temperature in your room via your Nest or something like that? Or
Oh, sure. Yeah, like if you have a Ecobee thermostat or something, you can have this talking to the Nest. You could use it as a remote sensor for the Nest.
that's good then.
And so it's a cool little thing. I've been very pleased with it so far, and setting it up was a breeze. It was just take a picture of the HomeKit ID number on the bottom of it, and it was done.
All right, interesting. Good pick, mate. Thank you very much. Rich, what do you have for us?
My cool thing this week is actually another Nintendo thing, because I'm nothing if not predictable. This week, I actually went out and bought another Nintendo 3DS. And so I thought it was just worth mentioning that if you've never played on one of these things, they're bloody amazing.
Okay.
And definitely a great thing to get you out of a jam when you wake up and think, oh shit, it's my anniversary today. And you can just, when that happens, just run off into town somewhere and buy a Nintendo 3DS.
So your
And
missus was
you-
happy with the 3DS on your anniversary.
Yeah.
Good pick, mate. Good pick.
It was done very well.
No, I'm
And
talking
so
about the wife, mate. Yeah, not the 3DS.
Sorry.
I'm talking
Oh,
about
right.
the wife, not the 3DS.
Yeah.
Mine had
13
slapped
years.
me silly.
Yeah, 13 years. She's used to disappointment now. That's the thing. So you've just got to wear them down over a number of years.
Awesome.
Manage expectations. That's the case. And so all I've heard from her since then is sort of, yeah, like that, pretty much, just
Good.
on the 3DS. If you couldn't see the video, I was
Mission accomplished.
miming there, the 3DS use. So go and check them out. Do you know what, as well? The 2DS is out soon. It's a whole library of awesome games that you should get yourself access
I got
to.
the 2DS for both my kids, and it was the best thing I ever bought. They love it on car journeys, and it's big form factor good. It runs off the cartridges. It's excellent.
Yeah, brilliant machines. So yeah, go and get one of those for a bit of gaming fun.
Good one, mate. Thank you very much. Righty boy, what do you have for us, mate?
Hello, mate. Well, I've been rendering a lot of videos today, so I was getting a bit bored. And it's no secret on BTN, I love my old space shooter game. So the link I just put in the chat room is a game called Phoenix HD. I'm not even going to try and play it, but it's an amazing space shooter kind of thing. You go through, just kill as many things as you want. But the sound, the graphics are excellent. The thing that really gets me on this, the power-ups are mental. So obviously you can go around and collect coins and all those sort of things, but you can collect power-ups like you used to in R-Type and those sort of games. But they're absolutely insane, some of the weapons you can get. Now, I've been really, really enjoying it. And then I want to move on to get a better ship. And then they start plugging you for money. That's the only thing. I just want to pay these guys like £3 and enjoy the game properly. Because it's so good. I wouldn't be that bothered if it wasn't that good. But every time you got a new ship, you've got to pay 99p every time. And it just takes something that's a really good game that I'd love to play forever. But I'll just play it with the one ship that I've got and put it away when I'm finished.
Excellent, mate. There's a lot. I mean, it is space piracy, is it not?
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Good one, mate. Like that. Nice pick. Jackie, do you have a cool thing for us?
I wasn't prepared for this. I'm so sorry.
Well, I'll come back to you.
But no, well, I mean, if it doesn't have to be tech necessarily, there's a documentary on Netflix right now called Pet Fooled, and they talk about how a lot of the pet food that you buy in stores that is filled with corn and animal byproducts, and explains exactly what it's about. And they also sort of they don't recommend, but they glance over some companies that provide some really great pet food. And I currently have a 18-year-old cat who at any moment might walk right in front of my camera and take a dump. And I've been in fear of that this entire podcast.
That's all right.
But I'm sorry.
we have the same fears with Righty. Don't worry about it.
But there are some great raw food pet companies out there, and one, if you're in the United States and you're listening there in particular, I don't know what the international charges are, but there's one called Darwin's, and I recently signed up for it, and they ship you a sample for $14.95, and I did that, and I'm getting nothing from them. But I praise them completely because the food is absolutely amazing. It's something I could probably even eat that comes to you. And it's delivered to you in dry ice. It arrives perfectly fine. And, they develop a diet based off of your animal. And you don't have to worry about going to your grocery store or and picking up some kind of garbage off the shelf that you're not sure what it is. And anyways, I guess I would just recommend going and watching that documentary called Pet Fooled on Netflix, and then from there they mention a few different pet companies that do that sort of thing. So basically every couple of months I pay $100, and for 12 weeks I've got complete pet food, and I don't have to worry about what I'm feeding my animals. So I guess that's my cool thing, but that's not very tech savvy, so I'm sorry.
No, it's tech. That's Netflix's tech. That's good.
Okay.
Beats Jeff's sex toys most of the time.
Yeah, and it's using the internet to purchase your cat or dog food. Toys, yeah, right. Okay.
My cool thing, this is going to sound really boring, is the Godox Pro S-Type Bowens mount holder for your flash gun. So if you've got a hot shoe flash gun, you can take it and you can shove it into this thing, screw the top screw down and clamp it in place, and it acts like a holder. But if you're talking about like a reflector, here's a reflector that comes off a Bowens flash. Excuse me. I can edit. Generally, that'll come with a flash gun, but if you haven't got the flash gun, if you're out mobile and you haven't got the power for a flash gun, then you can use your speed light or your hot shoe camera flash to do it instead. And this thing will allow you to use things like umbrellas if you've got for reflectors, and it'll also allow you to use soft boxes and things like that are Bowens fit compatible. And Bowens is one of the major, Bowens, Elinchrom, Interfit. Those are kind of the three major fits that you get for.
I love this
for lighting heads. And it's dead easy to use. You literally just put your flash head in that slot and screw the screw down, and it's ready to go. You can either run it off an extension cord off the top of your DSLR, or you can get a remote trigger that plugs into it and triggers the flash remotely. And then you can get your gaffer to run around holding it on a stick and point it wherever you go. It's fantastic for location shoots and that kind of stuff. And saves you carrying big battery packs around for your flash guns. Oh. And depending on how you use it and how close you get and how proficient you are, you can actually get some really, really good effects with it. But I bought it this week because me and Jake are going to go out and do some location stuff in the next couple of weeks. How much do you think that cost?
$99.99 US dollars.
Okay, good guess. $99.99. Anyone else?
80 quid.
80 quid. Good guess.
Considering you're asking, I'm going to assume it's a lot lower. So let's go with 39.
£14.50.
What?
What?
Wow.
£14.50, and the build quality in it is unreal. It is unreal.
Can I just show you very quickly this thing I made out of foam board? Because I construct a lot of stuff. I made a foam board construction to hold my iPhone 7S so that I could do stop motion in a different angle. And then I hooked up a little tripod thing. And so, like, yes, I mean, I'm looking for a cheap, reasonable stand for either lighting or camera. Like, this sounds perfect. 14?
This isn't a stand. This is the head that holds the flash. It's not the stand.
Okay, so you get a tripod, but then it will connect to a tripod. Like, I have it.
This will connect onto that. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it puts a flash
perfect.
gun. So if you've got an off-camera flash gun, or a hot shoe flash gun, then all you do is plug it into it and screw it down, and that's it. It's off and running. You just need to figure out how you're going to trigger it electronically. So you might struggle with that. You might need to buy an adapter. I've got remote triggers that I can plug onto the bottom of this that I can be 200 feet away and it can trigger it. So, but £14.50, and it's like I said, the build quality is unreal. I was expecting plastic shit for £14.50, and it's not. It's really well built.
That's amazing.
There's some kid somewhere that's making Nikes on the side and making these in his spare time, and I feel bad about it, but it's brilliant. It's awesome quality, and it's on Prime as well, so it came same day.
Amazing.
I'm an evil man. Where can we get a hold of you, Alan?
Yeah, you can find me best on Twitter at Digital Amoeba.
Excellent, mate. Thank you very much. Righty, where are you, mate?
I'm here on the big show, hopefully this week on the Pocket Show, doing the reviews and helping out Rich over at Simply Syndicated.
Excellent, mate. And Pocket Show coming back?
Yes, hopefully this week.
Again. Bring that Mac back with you as well, and let's see if we can get it running over here as well by the time you get back. Or is it dead as a donut?
No, I just think it needs a little bit more skill than me, I think.
All right. Well, we'll see if we can get it running.
Yep, cool.
And you can take it back with you then. Jeff, where are you, mate?
I'm over at macobserver.com, and I'm on Twitter and Instagram, jgamut, and Fresh Brewed Tales, where I write about coffee shops, and every podcast. All the podcasts.
Yeah, if they haven't got Jeff on, they don't count. They're not in iTunes. Rich, where are you, mate?
Well, I'm over at simplysyndicated.com or techsportrich.com. It's all there.
Good man. And last but by no means least, Jackie, where are you, Mrs.?
Oh, well, you can find me on the bridgetechnetwork.com/house of cards show.
HOC.
HOC. Yeah. And my co-host and I, Roberto Villegas, we record every Thursday at 5 p.m. British summertime. And come join us. Come join us live in chat. And in addition to that, I do some crazy puppet stuff, as you see behind my head. And you can find all of my shenanigans at JackieHern81 on Twitter.
Excellent, mate. That'd be great. If we could... well, you need to send us some of your puppet stuff.
I will. I should do some British Tech Network puppet stuff.
Oh, do Jeff with a sex toy.
Oh, that would be awesome.
You know what? Like, I've done some for another show called Night Attack and some Diamond Club, if you're familiar with that. And I was so happy that I finally did a puppet video with them that did not involve a penis.
Really? You've only just managed to do the first show without a penis?
Yes, I did. I've done like 5, and they all have a penis somewhere in it.
Puppetry. So, which finger do you use for the penis?
Or is
it your whole hand? Which finger do you use for the penis and the doll, or is it your whole hand?
No, I have to craft a penis out of clay or something. Anyways, whatever. You can find, if you want to watch those videos, you go to youtube.com/Jackie Hern. But just don't. Thanks for the plug.
That's all right, mate. My name's Ewan Rankin. You can get me from Ewan Rankin on Twitter, and we'll see you again soon. A big show and Mac show next week on Friday, as normal. See you then. Thanks for listening.